In today's video, we're diving into the huge tax plan outlined by former President Donald Trump, an ambitious proposal that could reshape the U.S. economy and federal budget for years to come. But there's a catch. It might come with an astronomical price tag, potentially adding trillions to the national debt. So let's break down what this plan really entails, what it could mean for your wallet, and how it might impact the future of the U.S. economy. Section 1. What is Trump's tax plan? To start, President Trump's tax plan is designed to reduce federal revenue by an eye-popping $5 trillion to $11.2 trillion over the next decade. These estimates come from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a nonpartisan group dedicated to analyzing fiscal policies. This plan, if implemented, would significantly cut into the nation's finances by removing current or expected revenue streams. Trump's proposal includes extending the tax cuts from the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, or TCJA, which was one of his major achievements during his first term in office. Section 2. The key components of the tax plan. Let's break it down. 1. Extending the 2017 tax cuts. The tax cuts introduced under the TCJA were set to expire in 2025. However, under Trump's plan, these cuts would be extended, leading to a federal revenue reduction of somewhere between $3.9 trillion and $4.8 trillion. A substantial chunk of that comes from cutting taxes on individuals and businesses, with the aim of encouraging investment and job creation. 2. State and local tax deduction relief, SALT. One of the most talked about provisions is the expansion of the SALT deduction, which would allow people to deduct more of their state and local taxes from their federal returns. This could cost between $200 billion and $1.2 trillion, depending on how broadly it's applied. 3. Tax cuts on tips, overtime, and Social Security benefits. The plan also proposes eliminating taxes on tips, overtime pay, and some Social Security benefits. According to the CFRB, this could reduce federal revenue by anywhere from $900 billion to $5 trillion, depending on the specifics of the proposal. 4. Tax breaks for domestic production. Trump has long advocated for bringing more manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. His plan includes tax cuts aimed at boosting American manufacturing, which could reduce revenue by between $100 billion and $200 billion. Closing loopholes and limiting stadium tax breaks. To offset some of the costs, the plan proposes closing the carried interest loophole, a tax break for certain types of investment income, and limiting tax breaks for sports stadiums. While these changes could bring in between $20 billion and $100 billion, they're just a small drop in the bucket compared to the massive cuts in revenue. Section 3. How would this impact the U.S. economy? Supporters of Trump's tax plan argue that the reductions in taxes could stimulate economic growth. The reasoning is simple. Lower taxes leave businesses with more money to invest, which could create jobs and lead to more economic activity. Plus, for middle-class workers, the elimination of taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security could be a big win. However, there are significant concerns about the long-term consequences of such sweeping tax cuts. The Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, CFRB, warns that without any offsetting measures, this plan could push the national debt to between 132% and 149% of the GDP by 2035, up from about 100% right now. This is nearly double or even triple the projected growth in debt under current laws. And remember, higher debt means more money spent on interest payments. Over the next decade, these interest costs could soar by $1.2 trillion to $2.7 trillion, which would strain the government's ability to fund other critical programs. Section 4. The potential toll on Social Security and Medicare. One of the most concerning impacts of this plan is its potential effect on vital government programs like Social Security and Medicare. Tax cuts on Social Security benefits, in particular, could weaken the trust funds that support these programs. Additionally, critics argue that broader tax cuts could encourage more income shifting and tax avoidance, meaning that wealthy individuals and corporations might find ways to pay even less in taxes, further reducing the federal revenue. Section 5. Weighing the trade-offs. So, what's the bottom line? Trump's tax plan represents a clear trade-off between economic stimulus and fiscal responsibility. On one hand, the tax cuts could provide immediate relief, especially for middle-class workers and businesses looking to invest. The idea is that with more money in their pockets, consumers would spend more, businesses would expand, and the economy would grow. On the other hand, the long-term impact of these cuts on the national debt is concerning. Without offsetting measures, such as reducing government spending or finding new revenue sources, the U.S. could face a fiscal crisis in the years ahead. Section 6. Can the tax cuts pay for themselves? Here's the big question. Can these massive tax cuts really spur enough economic growth to make up for the loss of revenue? If they can't, we might find ourselves on an unsustainable fiscal path. Some experts believe the cuts could push the U.S. into a position where the country struggles to pay off its debt. As policymakers continue to debate this proposal, one thing is clear. The future of U.S. tax policy will play a huge role in determining the country's fiscal health for decades to come. Section 7. The road ahead. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that tax policy is one of the most contentious and complex issues in U.S. politics. While Trump's plan promises immediate economic benefits, the long-term implications of massive tax cuts on the national debt cannot be ignored. Can we balance the need for tax cuts with fiscal responsibility? Only time will tell. But what's certain is that the debate around this tax plan will continue to shape the future of America's economy. So, what do you think about Trump's tax plan? Is it worth the risk of rising national debt in exchange for potential economic growth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insightful discussions on the future of our economy. Thanks for watching.